The Way to Blessedness, Part 2. You have understood that the man who lives in ignorance and enjoys is not different from the brute beast. Yet there are many who, though steeped in ignorance, in the pride of their hearts, think that they are great sages and go round and round in many crooked ways like the blind led by the blind. This truth, Nachiketa, never shines in the hearts of those who are like ignorant children deluded by a few lumps of earth. They do not understand this world nor the other world. They deny this and the other one, and thus again and again come under my control. Many have not even the opportunity to hear about it, and many, though hearing, cannot know it, because the teacher must be wonderful. So must he be wonderful to onto whom the knowledge is carried. If the speaker is a man who is not highly advanced, then even 100 times heard and 100 times taught, the truth never illumines the soul. Do not disturb your mind by vain arguments, Nachiketas. This truth only becomes effulgent in the heart which has been made pure. He who cannot be seen without the greatest difficulty, he who is hidden, he who has entered the cave of the heart of hearts, the ancient one, cannot be seen with the external eyes. Seeing him with the eyes of the soul, one gives up both pleasure and pain. He who knows this secret gives up all his vain desires and attains this superfine perception and thus becomes ever blessed. Nachiketa, that is the way to blessedness. He is beyond all virtue, beyond all vice, beyond all duties, beyond all non duties, beyond all existence, beyond all that is to be. He who knows this alone knows. He whom all the Vedas seek, to see whom men undergo all sorts of asceticism, I will tell you his name, it is Om. This eternal Om is the Brahman. This is the immortal one. He who knows the secret of this, whatever he desires, is his. This self of man, Nachiketa, about which you seek to know, is never born and never dies. Without beginning ever existing, this ancient one is not destroyed when the body is destroyed. If the slayer thinks that he can slay, and if the slain man thinks he is slain, both are mistaken, for neither can the self kill, nor can it be killed. Infinitely smaller than the smallest particle, infinitely greater than the greatest existence, the Lord of all lives in the caves of the heart of every being. He who has become sinless sees him in all his glory through the mercy of the same Lord. We find that the mercy of God is one of the causes of God realization. Sitting, he goes far, lying, he goes everywhere. Who else but men of purified and subtle understanding are qualified to know the God in whom all conflicting attributes meet? Without body, yet living in the body untouched, yet seemingly in contact, omnipresent, knowing that Atma to be such, the sage gives up all misery. This Atma is not to be attained by the study of the Vedas, nor by the highest intellect, nor by much learning. Whom the Atma seeks, he gets the Atma. Unto him he discloses his glory. He who is continuously doing evil deeds, he whose mind is not calm, he who cannot meditate, he who is always disturbed and fickle, he cannot understand and realize this Atma who has entered the cave of the heart. This body, O Nachiketa, is the chariot. The organs of the senses are the horses. The mind is the reins. The intellect is the charioteer, and the soul is the rider in the chariot. When the soul joins himself with the charioteer, buddhi or intellect, and then through it with the mind, the reins, and through it again with the organs, the horses, he is said to be the enjoyer. He perceives, he works, he acts. He whose mind is not under control and who has no discrimination, his senses are not controllable like vicious horses in the hands of a driver. But he who has discrimination, whose mind is controlled, his organs are always controllable like good horses in the hands of the driver. He who has discrimination, whose mind is always in the way to understand truth, who is always pure, he receives that truth, attaining which there is no rebirth. This, O Nachiketas, is very difficult. The way is long and it is hard to attain. It is only those who have attained the finest perception that can see it, that can understand it, yet do not be frightened. Awake, be up and doing. Do not stop till you have reached the goal, for the sages say that the task is very difficult, like walking on the edge of a razor. He who is beyond the senses, beyond all touch, beyond all form, beyond all taste, the unchangeable, the infinite, beyond even intelligence, the indestructible, knowing him alone, we are safe from the jaws of death.